Oh, hi, I'm Georgia Monday. This is Take a Seat with our guest star, Ray Bradbury. Hi, Ray, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good, thanks for asking. So, to start this interview right, we're just going to ask you, tell me about yourself, basically.
Well, I was born on August 22nd, 1922. I grew up in Waukegan, Illinois, to Leonard Spalding Bradbury and Esther Bradbury.
Those are your parents, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so I know that as a child you loved going to the library and reading. Would you give me a little insight on that?
Well, I learned to read when I was 3 years old, and I went to the library for the first time when I was 7. My brother and I loved to go to the library. We would run, not walk, but run to the library, and the leaves would fall behind us in the wind. I've loved books ever since. I feel that libraries are people, and people are waiting there for me. Thousands of people who wrote the books waiting for me to open and read them.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Interesting. So, did you ever get to meet any of the authors?
Mentally, yes. Through the books, I got to experience their feelings, imagination, and poetry that they wrote.
Wow. Would you tell me some of the books that you loved as a child?
I love comic strips, and I got a book of fairy tales when I was 5 years old, which was about the time I started falling in love with books.
Wow. You fell in love with books at a really young age.
Yeah.
Took me a while. Okay, no. But, well, now, you love reading so much. Tongue-tied today. Who are your influences?
My greatest influence has to be John Steinbeck, who wrote The Grapes of Wrath when I was 19 years old.
With your passion for reading, what was your family like? Did they add on to your muse of the arts?
Well, I was greatly influenced by my Aunt Neva, a costume designer and dressmaker, who took me to plays and encouraged me to use my imagination.
Wow. That really explains the imagination you put into your books. So, how was the beginning of your adulthood?
After graduating from high school in 1938, I was turned down for military service because of bad eyesight. I earned a living by selling newspapers while writing on my work. I sold my first story in 1943, and others were published in such magazines like Black Mass, Amazing Stories, and Weird Tales.
Oh, okay. Well, one of your most known books, Fahrenheit 451, would you tell us about it?
Well, when I was writing the book, I had no office, so I went to a library. It cost 10 cents an hour, so I grabbed a bag of dimes and got to work. It cost me $9.80 typing that book. The library, of all places where it wasn't being burned.
Wow. So, tell us, who are the characters to you?
Well, Montauk, my main character, was a fire chief who burned books and still felt incomplete with his life. Clarice McClellan is me. She is the essence of life and the essence of love. I don't write the books. My characters write the books. They come to me and they begin creating them.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting
It's
you.
okay.
It's okay. Okay, so it's always been that way.
Well, pretty much, yeah. When people touch my books, they're alive. That's the gift I want to give them, and I want them to carry to the library. Love what you do, and do what you love. Imagination should be the center of life.
So, now that we know all about your books and your career and a little bit of your personal life as you grew up, let's hear some interesting facts about you, Mr. Bradbury.
Some interesting facts, huh?
Yeah, some interesting facts about you, Mr. Bradbury.
Well, let me think. I never learned how to drive a car, and I never went to college.
Were they hard for you, knowing that you didn't know how to drive?
Pretty much because I could never, go anywhere, like to McDonald's or something.
That's funny, Mr. Bradbury. Well, is there anything else you want your fans to know about you?
Well, I won a Pulitzer Prize for my book for 1951, and I have a prize named after me, the Ray Bradbury Award. Something else I want them to know is I have a meteor named after me, a 9766 Bradbury.
Wow, your own asteroid or meteor? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, Mr. Bradbury.
You can call me Ray.
Well, Ray, how many books have you written?
Well, I've written about 500 short stories, about 10 novels, 20 short stories collections, and lots of poetry and plays.
Okay, so I've asked you basically every question about your career. Well, maybe not every, but, main questions that people will ask you. And now I've been wondering, what was your love life like?
Well, I found my love in a bookstore, and I took her to coffee, we went to dinner, and fell in love with her, and the books surrounded her. A year later, we got married. She was a rich girl, and she gave up all her money just to be with me. We lived without a telephone, without a car, but we lived on love and books and by writing. And I think that's the answer to life. If you can find a person who loves life as much as you do, marry him.
Wow, that's beautiful, Mr. Bradbury. And would you tell me a quote or something that you would let me be able to carry on, for the rest of my life?
Well, I believe that we are cups, constantly and quietly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out.
Would you, explain?
You see, a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, and inside of the cocoon, it is being filled with something beautiful. And the trick is that the caterpillar has to come out of the cocoon, letting all the beautiful stuff out.
Wow, that's a great way to explain it, because I had no idea what you were talking about. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I will always remember that, of course, because that's a great way to explain something. And I will always carry that with me forever. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Bradbury. And just thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have, folks. So we'll see you next time on Take a Seat. Interview, right? Would you tell me about yourself?
Well, I was born on August 22nd, 1922. I grew, oh God.
She said, oh God.
Stop.
It's on?
Yeah, it's recording.
Oops. You can call me Ray.
Well, Ray, how many books have you written?
Well, I've written about 500 short stories, 10 novels, 20 short story collections, and tons of poetry, many plays.
It's fascinating you don't have arthritis. No, I'm kidding.
No.
It's not something to joke about. Arthritis is very something serious.
Yes.